Hey y'all, the spring market is definitely warming up. So look, I'm getting ready to drop this month's market update. Stay tuned. All right, I think you guys are gonna be super excited about these numbers. All right, they're like wild. All right, they're wild. So if you're curious to know how we did up here in North Everett, stay tuned. Check out the video. We're gonna get right to the data. All right, so here's the data. We're going to start off with Everett as a whole. So, I mean, look at the new listings. The new listings are up a little bit. I mean, I think there's been a lot of talk about, hey, there's not enough houses available and stuff. And we're going to kind of see this trend here. There are more listings than there have been in previous months. I mean, maybe one could argue that, well, March 2020 was when COVID started and the whole pandemic thing. And so, there was like that 2-week period where maybe listings weren't as abundant as they would usually be. But I think we're going to sort of figure out what it looks like as we get further into the year. Like, what does April look like? What is June? What is August? All these months, going forward, what do they look like compared to the previous year? You can really see a huge surge in the number of pending sales. Look at that, 164 to 270. Wow. It's a big number. And again, look at that median sales price, man, up $100,000. That's not the only time we're going to see that. We're going to see that happen a few times as I go through this presentation. And I mean, there's just been an enormous surge in home prices. And then lastly, the days on market's flat. It's 5 days. Here's the thing a lot of people don't understand about this area. We have been in a seller's market for quite some time, actually. So this is not new, right? Like none of this is new. There have been multiple offers in Everett ever since I started in real estate. And so it's been like this for a while. Maybe one could argue it's a bit more aggressive. I mean, sure, but we've been in a seller's market for quite some time now. All right, so this is a new graph. I did want you guys to take a look at it. So we're talking about specifically North Everett 98201. And we're talking about the amount of available inventory for sale. All right, because a lot of people are asking, like, where is it? Where are all these extra homes? Well, here, look at this. Compared to last year at this time, all right, so just at the end of the first quarter, 73 homes sold in North Everett. All right. And this year, there are 86 that have sold. So actually more homes have sold in this first quarter. It's an increase of 17%. I mean, it might not seem like a lot, it's only a few, but I mean, 17% is nothing to balk at. So, I mean, at this point, I really think we're going to probably exceed the number of homes that we sold in 2020. And I think if you're currently in the market to buy a home, it just might not seem like there's much available inventory. I mean, and it's mostly because the homes are selling so quickly. So, I mean, we sold like just shy of 400 homes last year. And I think we're probably going to be in like maybe closer to 2018 levels. So maybe closer to 500. That's what I think we're going to do this year. That's what I think. All right. And then we're back on the regular schedule, my normal graph here comparing March 2020 to 2021 in North Everett. And you can see that new listings are up. You see that? They are up from last year. And the pending sales are up. So there are more homes that are trading compared to last year. Now, granted, of course, remember last March, we had the shutdown and, maybe that's a piece of it. Maybe that's one reason why it looks this way. All right. And, this high number of pending sales from the month of March are really going to show themselves next month in the number of sold homes, right? Which seems a bit flat, right? Like, March 2020 is the blue bar. It seems like it's about the same number of homes that have sold. When you come over here and look at the homes for sale, the amount of available inventory, look at how low it is. I mean, they're just getting gobbled up. Here's the thing is when a home hits the market, it's gone. Okay. It just doesn't stick around. All right. It just doesn't stick around. And similarly, we see days on market. It's interesting that this days on market is higher. I think probably there's some kind of outlier in there that was on the market for a longer time. I'm actually thinking, I was just looking at listings. I'm thinking there are a couple that have just kind of sat on the market for interesting reasons. And so, maybe it's kind of skewing that number. I mean, I would say honestly, like 15 days or whatever, this 16 days is not really a real number. Most homes, if they're priced correctly, are selling in less than a week. Okay, most homes, if they're priced correctly, are selling in less than a week these days. And you can see that the month supply is down. But look at this, in 2020, it was still low. It's low now. It's lower, okay, but it was already low. It's not like months, it's not like we had like 6 months of supply and then all of a sudden it dropped to 0.3, which is what we have for this month. So, and I think we're going to kind of continue to see that. I think that inventory is going to continue to cycle very quickly. All right, well, this is kind of a surprising graph to me. It looks like the median sales prices were flat, right? Like, there's just a marginal increase, right? Like $5,000, all right? But I think maybe this might not be the best statistic to look at. If you look at the year-to-date median sales prices, you can see that they're up 15.6%, 15.6%. And that's going from about $372,000 to $430,000. Okay, so we're kind of that trend where it's like, yes, $50,000 to $100,000 is where these things are going. All right, so in the next slide, we've got just over 2 years of data here, and you can really see in this trend line that prices have been increasing and they're going to continue to increase. All right. And you can really you can almost see the impact that COVID-19 had. Like if you kind of follow this trend line along and you find February 2020, you can see that bump up in March, like boom, right when pandemic hit, it's like, okay, all the prices are higher now because everybody wants to be in their own house. Everybody wants to own a single family detached home. And I think that, I think that this will just kind of continue on. I think that this will continue on. And I think you can see it more dramatically here. If you look at this slide here, you can see that in the past 11 of 12 months, prices were higher than $400,000. This is the median sales price was higher than $400,000. And, in a couple of months there, you can see there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. They were right around 450. And I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see that number probably hit that 500,000. I mean, I think it's going to hit that $500,000 mark. Thinking about a couple of sales that I've seen post recently in the area. And so I think that's where it's going. I think we're going to kind of consistently be hitting above 450. Yeah, that's where the market's going these days. So here's another look. You know how much I love this graph. It kind of tells you like what are sellers getting for their homes. And you can see that has also been increasing this entire time. Nice trend line, increasing the amount over asking they've been receiving. And, I think it's just going to continue to go upward, right? Like, so this past month, it was 5.6%, and that is the highest it has been in the past 24 months. Because look at that, we've got 2 years of data. That is the highest it has been in the past 24 months. And I really do think this. I think that we will exceed 6% as we head into this heavy spring season and summer selling season. And, depending on the kind of house, right? Like this is just an average number looking at all houses, but I do know that there are some areas where like, a single level house is 8% over asking, okay, on average, let alone the range, right? The range on some of these is like 20%. All right, as much as 20% over asking. All right, if I can find my little mouse, we'll go on to the next one. All right. So this is another graph. This is something that I've been tracking. Lastly, I want to talk about that elusive 3-bed, 2-bath home. Look, everybody's always looking for it. The reason I have this graph here is because it is literally the most popular configuration. It's what I'm always asked for. People always want like at least 2 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms. Now, I mean, it could be, I should look at the 4-bedroom because, here's the thing. More people are kind of like, oh, maybe I need that extra bedroom for an office. And so, there you go. So you can see that there's been a nice bump up in March here heading into the spring season. And you can also see that median sales price in March was $565,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. Just over $560,000. I mean, nearly $600,000 to get a 3-bed, 2-bath home in North Everett. Wow. And that is up from the previous month. The previous month, February was 459,000. So $100,000 bump up. Okay, $100,000 bump up, which is just wild. Okay, just wild. Okay, super sunny day. So look, I think in conclusion, you know, we're just gonna have to see what the spring market does. I mean, I think it's going to still be, you know, a pretty strong seller's market. Zillow, I mean, they've kind of pulled back a little bit on their estimate. I was just looking, they think that the market's going to grow like maybe 7.5%, 7.4% in the next year. I know before they were kind of thinking like in the 11s, and I've seen that still published, you know, in places. Maybe they're, you know, I'm not exactly sure how they calculate that. Maybe they're looking at like interest rates, they're looking at economic recovery and all that stuff. I mean, you know, there's a lot happening, right? Like, who knows what's going to happen? You know, if the vaccine is less effective and we have this like COVID variant, you know, who knows? It could end up being a pretty wild year. So look, I do these videos every month. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I have a lot of good information on there. Subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you again next month.